Right. Uh, Today we are going to discuss consumer behavior and market. Actually, we studied demand supply analysis, including consumer equilibrium. Actually, now you have a particular idea about consumer equilibrium. We understood demand as well as supply as basic market forces. Then demand means the quantity of goods and services that buyers are willing and able to buy at a given price over a period of time. So we have to consider now in this lesson about consumer behavior. In other words, consumer satisfaction. Actually, consumers behave rationally. They have limited income, I mean money. In other words, resources. So such limited amount should be spent in the market in order to achieve the maximum satisfaction. As we know, people are not self-sufficient. In other words, people can't make their own products at home or within their premises. Then what do they have to do now? Purchasing stuffs, maybe foods from the market. There is a price of the product as well when we want to purchase. Anyways, economists created a particular model of consumer behavior. Simply, they assumed consumers behave rationally. So they try to, consumers to maximize their satisfaction. They will purchase number of goods as much as possible to meet their requirements. And this theory, consumer behavior, is developed by economists by using two approaches. One is cardinal, other one is ordinal. In the cardinal approach, economists believed utility can be, we can say satisfaction, consumer satisfaction can be measured. So when you get your foodstuffs, for example, for the dinner, you will have particular stuffs at your home. Imagine you are going to have a pizza. You ordered. Now it is in front of you. You was really hungry. So you took one piece and ate. When you take the first piece, it is really tasty. You wanted that much of very high satisfaction. But soon after the soon after the first one, you decided to take the second piece as well. Then when you are having the second piece, you do not get the similar satisfaction what you received from the first one. It is bit low now. Earlier you ate quickly. first piece. But second one, of course, you may eat somewhat slowly because you tasted once. That's why. Soon after second one, your parents said to have the next one as well. Now the third one. You took the third one. Now you feel too much because you ate two pieces. Your satisfaction of from the third one would be very little. Then you will eat very slowly, not that much quickly, because you tasted already such a one. Your satisfaction, it's really less now. Soon after the third, if someone force you to eat the fourth one, you definitely reject because you don't have any requirement from the fourth one, no satisfaction from the fourth one. So what do you realized? Your satisfaction decreased. It is common. As rational consumers, we are rational. That is the meaning of rational. We feel satisfaction. In other words, satisfaction diminishes gradually. Additional satisfaction diminishes gradually. That is the correct word. Additional satisfaction diminished. There is no way to measure your satisfaction. But I can ask a particular value for the first piece, second piece, third piece, and the fourth. Imagine you have money as well. When you get the first one, you had a very high satisfaction. You will pay very high amount. Assume for the first one you are willing to pay 100, but the second one not that much tasty, so you will pay very little, less. Third one, of course, really low. Fourth one, you don't pay. If I ask a value for the satisfaction what you received on each and every unit, then here cardinal approach means satisfaction is measured by using the word called util. Util. So util, in other word, particular method of analyzing or assessing satisfaction. But the value what you paid may not be accurate. Anyways, it is true. First one very high, second one less, third one very little, fourth one not at all, based on your satisfaction. Such an analysis is called cardinal approach. So then, utility means satisfaction. Level of satisfaction is measured by using numerical terms. In here, we can draw up a demand curve by using some figures. Imagine here the price. We drew demand and supply curves. Without discussing this theory, quantity demand, you are going to have four pieces. First one, second one, third one, fourth one. Even prices, 100. 80, 20, and 0. If you combine these things together, 100 and the first one, you are going to pay 100 for the first unit. 100 for the first unit. $80 for the second unit. 20 for the third unit. So then, here, value, particular point, finally, fourth one. So the demand curve can be illustrated like this. This is the way of deriving a demand curve by using utility. So then, cardinal approach means the way of recognizing numerical value for the satisfaction in which demand curve is derived based on consumer satisfaction or the utility. Actually, the theory adopted by one of economists called Alfred Marshall. So the Alfred Marshall said marginal utility, what did I say? The total, the additional utility from each and every unit diminished continuously. So such a way, marginal utility is considered to derive a demand curve even. When the marginal utility decreases, the demand curve also slopes downward. Right, first of all, consumer equilibrium means the point where consumer maximizes his or her utility given his or her level of income. There are two aspects. These are two basic approaches through which economists identify equilibrium position, or in other words, consumption level at which rational consumer gains the maximum satisfaction in a market. Cardinal approach, ordinal approach. We firstly consider cardinal utility analysis. Under this approach, it is assumed that the level of satisfaction a consumer gains by consuming an item be measured. The satisfaction a consumer gain through a good or service is measurable. Cardinal approach. Marginal utility theory. The theory of marginal utility is based on the fundamental assumption that utility a person derives by consuming an item is measurable. Therefore, this is referred to as cardinal utility analysis too. Then the two headings are given: total utility, marginal utility. I draw up this the explanation. What did I mention here? Quantity, total utility, TU, marginal utility, MU. Total utility means the total satisfaction by consuming all the units of a good. So, first unit, second unit, third one, fourth one, according to my example. Earlier, I asked a value based on your satisfaction price. Instead of that, I will assign your satisfaction. by assuming numerical values. Anyways, we know that our satisfaction, additional satisfaction diminishes. So in the first one, I will write here 10. Your satisfaction, I thought 10. With the second one, your total satisfaction is 18. Then the third unit, your satisfaction is 24. With the fourth one, your total satisfaction is 25. Right. See the marginal utility. When the first unit is there, you derived 10 additionally, 0 to 1. When the second unit is there, your additional satisfaction is 8 for 1 unit consumed. Therefore, here 8. When the third unit is there, additional satisfaction is 6. When the fourth unit is there, your additional satisfaction is 1. So what do you understand? Your satisfaction, marginal satisfaction decreased. Therefore, a theory was adopted in economics, the law of diminishing marginal utility. Simply, law of diminishing marginal utility illustrates the additional utility of additional unit consumed diminishes eventually. Continuously, it falls. That is called law of diminishing marginal utility. So then, we can draw up in economics, of course, we should draw tables to adopt our theory. Sometimes diagrams, sometimes equations. Right now, we may use equations here, table first of all. Now I am going to draw a diagram as well. Here the utility means satisfaction. Origin is 0, quantity. So then, number of units you consumed, as a result, total satisfaction increased. But maximum is, I will add one more point here. I will add one more point, like fifth unit. When the fifth unit is there, 25. I added one more. No satisfaction. Additional satisfaction, 0. 25, 25, 0. If I add a sixth unit, here, 23, decreased. Then this become -2. Minus, that means disutility. Minus value, disutility. Anyways, marginal utility decrease continuously. So then, total utility curve reach its peak, thereafter decreased. Here somewhere, maximum. This is the total utility and marginal utility. So marginal utility decrease continuously. The peak point means fifth unit. When fifth unit is consumed, maximum utility. When the sixth unit is there, total utility decreased. as well as marginal utility became negative. So then, this is how we realize consumer satisfaction under cardinal approach. In other words, under law of diminishing marginal returns, law of diminishing marginal return, marginal utility. So then here, total utility and marginal utility. Total utility is defined as total satisfaction received by a person, a person from consuming any given quantity of a good over a given period of time. So the total utility TU, F means function of quantity. Totally depend upon number of unit consumed. That is the meaning of this equation. When many units are consumed, total utility increases. As well as total depends upon number of units consumed. And the next one, marginal utility is the additional satisfaction a person receives by consuming extra unit of a good over given period of time. So marginality is calculated by using this equation. Change in total utility, delta TU, divided by change in quantity, that means delta Q. Even we calculated over here by using the same formula. So then further explanation is given down. Table 2.1 given below shows the behavior of total utility and marginal utility as a person gradually increases consumption of a good. A similar pattern can be observed for all consumers in relation to the behavior of total and marginal utility when additional quantities of a good is consumed by a person. If it is possible to identify special relationship between behavior of total and marginal utilities of any given period. So the total utility, marginality, what I drew, I took your we particular considered practical situation like having a pizza. So I took particular example as same. Another example is given, number of unit consumed 1 to 7. Total utility from 20 to 56. What did I observe here? Maximum it came to 60. Then once again it decreased. You see, 16 is calculated as marginal utility, taking the difference. Such difference divided by this difference. So then 16, 36 minus 20. Then the next one, 12 divided by this difference, 1. Likewise, calculation is given. 16 to 0. 0 means maximum utility at the 6th unit. Later on, 7th unit also consumes sense disutility, no satisfaction at all. This is called disutility. So then, utility decreased continuously. Such a pattern is called the law of diminishing marginal utility. So then next, the relationship between TU and MU observed from the above is that when total utility becomes maximum, the marginal utility is zero. Of course, we noticed for the sixth unit, when marginal utility is positive, total utility is increasing. Of course, up to the sixth unit, total utility was rising and marginal utility decreased but positive. Uh, when the marginal utility is positive, the total utility is increasing. When the marginal utility is negative, the total utility is declining. What do they say? Total utility increases at decreasing rate. That is a very simple term we can add here. Total utility increases at decreasing rate. That's why margin utility is falling and it is becoming zero, finally negative value as well. Right. So then identifying consumer equilibrium through cardinal utility analysis. Under the cardinal utility analysis, what do we concentrate? Way of recognizing consumer satisfaction. Consumers are in an equilibrium. So you may not look at the equilibrium what we studied under demand and supply. In such a lesson, equilibrium sense, whenever quantity demand is equal to quantity supply, then particular units are exchanged between buyers and sellers at the equilibrium price. It is called equilibrium. Right now, consumer equilibrium is not such a concept. Why is that? You can remember demand in that lesson concentrate total demand, not the individual demand. Even supply, the word represent market supply, all the supply of a good. So then, consumers are purchasing two goods like X and Y and spend a particular amount to achieve maximum satisfaction. Actually, such a condition is called equimarginal principle. Equimarginal principle. Simply, marginal utility per currency spent on each good is the same. So we know how to calculate marginal utility now. So the marginal utility should be divided by the price of the good. Then we calculate marginal utility per rupee. Such a value should equal to another product that we calculated utility per rupee. If so, consumer purchases particular units of these two goods to achieve an equilibrium. It is called consumer satisfaction or consumer equilibrium. Right. So then the point at which, so first of all, identifying consumer equilibrium through cardinal utility analysis. The point at which consumer maximizes his or her satisfaction given his or her limited income is referred to as the consumer equilibrium according to the marginal utility theory. A person attains consumer equilibrium when he or she purchases an item until the marginal utility per unit of currency is equal for all goods consumed. This is the definition. This is the definition. This is called consume equilibrium. Utility per currency like rupee is equal for all goods consumed. Actually, here we concentrate only two products. It is an assumption like X and Y or A and B. Suppose a person purchases X and Y from his or her limited income, then he or she maximizes the satisfaction attained consumer equilibrium when MUX divided by PX should equal to MUY divided by PY. Here P means price. X means price of X, marginal utility of X. It should equal to marginal utility of Y divided by the price of Y. Right. So above consume equilibrium condition has to be attained subject to limited income or given consumer, and his can be explained as follows. What does this content represent? Consumer purchases number of goods like X and Y multiplied by the price. Quantity of X multiplied by the price plus quantity of Y multiplied by the quantity of Y should equal to not the one here. This is called income. Actually, not the I here. It should equal to income. Limited income is spent on purchasing these two. If this condition meets such a requirement, it is called consume equilibrium. I will show you how to calculate such a working. Also, it says further down, accordingly, out of total income of consumer, there is I amount of spent on purchasing good X equivalent to amount of spent purchasing of good Y equivalent to Q, PY, QX, QY. So the total amount income, that's what. So it says down, it is necessary to simultaneously satisfy the two conditions mentioned above in order to attain consume equilibrium. Therefore, it is important to identify the exact equilibrium combination out of different combinations of goods that can be purchased from given level of income. Up to there, cardinal approach is over, but we do a particular calculation and we do ordinal utility analysis as well.